morning to the business people and really just our fellow South Africans who, like us, have decided to come here today and glean a bit of wisdom from Gail Cameron, but also just get assisted with some of the challenges that we've been dealing with. You will know that the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly for us here in South Africa, found us already dealing with a plethora of challenges. Chief amongst them is the treatment that artists have been getting and them feeling isolated and feeling that nobody cares. And one of the things that concerned me greatly was to see the number of artists that we lost during this pandemic, a really sad reflection of what happens when you don't look after a sector. A lot of these artists did not have to lose their lives. They did not have to suffer the demise, or we didn't have to suffer their demise, but it happened because of just lack of preparedness by a sector that refuses to come together. You will know that the performance bill sits at Parliament, and I'm assured that it is being attended to, and the clauses that are problematic are being extricated from it so that it can be passed. I pray that this happens. But today is really about us forgetting about all of those problems for a minute and thinking squarely about ourselves and how we can fortify ourselves, how we can ensure that we are armed and resilient to be able to move forward and continue to help South Africa heal. Artists are always being called upon to assist the country when there are challenges. Artists are always the ones that our country relies on when we are trying to communicate important messages and make them land without them sounding political. We watched when the pandemic was unfolding, when we did not know what we were dealing with. It was artists that the country called on to disseminate the message of how we're going to be able to adhere to the conditions that we're being asked to adhere to, which were very difficult, but we've now become accustomed to. It was artists who were going out and trying to really embolden the country to say that we will survive, we will come together and come out the other side unified. So one of the things that triggered this webinar was a call that I made to the International Women's Forum of South Africa, of which I'm a member, and Gail Cameron also is a member. She read my message where I was pleading for leading women in business to guide us, to just heed the call of artists and people who work in the sector on how we were going to try and assist those who are losing their lives and not even having received their royalties. And there were huge fundraising campaigns to try and bury some of these artists because they didn't have the money to do so, despite their royalties being owed. I have to say, I sit in awe of Gail. Her response was very swift. Her response was, I'm sure there is something I can do to ensure that you fortify the artists and you give them the tools to be able to sail through this difficult period. I have to say that I'm one of the people that are hoping to learn and grow from today. I've admired Gail for a long time, and I can't wait to be a part of today and be able to learn from her. She's got over 30 years of experience as an executive coach, and she's the founder of the Image Excellence Group, which this month, in fact, celebrates 27 years of coaching in Johannesburg, and one of South Africa's foremost leading coaching businesses. They have their proven track record. Many of you know who they are, and that's the reason you've logged on today. They've been developing leaders in commerce, industry, sport, politics, and the public sector. And today we can say that ourselves also who work in this sector. She's been trained at the Trinity College of London, and a really proven, consummate, skilled professional, leading clients globally. Gail has addressed international conferences in New York, in San Francisco, Toronto, Sydney, and of course here at home. Her passion for African leadership resulted in the publication of her book, Authentic African Leadership, and this was in 2013. Her latest book, From Fear to Freedom, was published in February this year. I hope you get a copy, and I certainly have my copy, which I haven't opened, but I shall ensure that I do after today. Gail, thank you so much for your kindness. Thank you so much for availing yourself. Thank you for also providing this workshop for us, this webinar for us, free of charge at a time when no company can afford to do so. So huge admiration, huge gratitude. We are all yours for today. Good morning, everybody. I hope you have your pens and pencils ready. I have mine. Let's ensure that we come out of today able to weather the storm in which we find ourselves. Gail, it is over to you, and a heartfelt thank you, lots and lots of love and huge gratitude.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Carol, for your gracious introduction. And we are so privileged to have you as the custodian of artists. You know, we can't do this without you. So thank you so much. And a very, very warm welcome to everybody. It's so lovely to be here. We have artists who are attending, but we also have some business people who have joined us today, who are also feeling the effects of the pandemic. So very, very warm welcome. This is going to be a 3-hour webinar, so we will have a break every hour to ensure that you can have a comfort break, and then we'll come back. At the end of this, I have prepared a workbook that we will email you that will consolidate what we've chatted about, and also provide you with exercises that you will be able to reflect upon to help you in your journey as you navigate through the storm. So in today's world of uncertainty and constant digital stimulation, the one thing that successful, authentic people, and by authentic, I mean not being afraid to be who you are able to create is the space and the permission to slow down and care for themselves. So our culture, Ubuntu, is all about putting the interests of others ahead of yourself. But the truth is that you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you have nothing to give, if you don't value yourself, it is virtually impossible to help anybody else. When you get on an airplane, the air steward says, in the case of emergencies, please put your own oxygen mask on. And only after that, help children. So what they're saying is that you need to help yourself first. And that is not an act of selfishness. It is you have come in this time space, in this life, to look after your needs. And if you don't look after your needs, it is impossible to help others. So for those of you who are here today, I want to say that there is no coincidence how you've landed up here today. There is no such thing as a mistake. There are powerful forces that have come together that have brought you here to help you in this journey of self-discovery. So that's exactly what it says. There are powerful synchronicities that lead you here. And once this is switched on, it never closes. I'd like to assure you that you are not broken ever. Part of your journey is coming to terms with who you are at the deepest fundamental level. And I hope that the work we do here today is going to help you to open your eyes, to take off the lenses through which we have been perceiving the world. Because the truth is, when we are tired, the world is tired also. We rarely see the world as it is. We see the world through the lens of our own experience, through the programming that we received as children, and through our own experiences. And of course, as Wayne Dyer said, the more you change how you look at the world, the more the world seems to change. So thank you, Carol, for saying, I've got my pen. Yes, this is what you're going to need today, is a pen, because I'm going to ask some volunteers to participate actively in the second and third module. So you will need a pen, a pencil, and a piece of paper or a notebook. And all I ask is that you truly be here now, that you be present. I don't need to say that this is your special time. And we know it's very difficult to be in this moment, because for many of us, our thoughts are where we've just come from. And for the rest, we're thinking about where we're going after this. So to gain the maximum benefit from this, I just ask you to be here now. So mindfulness is one of the most Googled words in the world right now. And I'm going to ask you, why do you think this is? And what does mindfulness mean to you? So it becomes very, very interesting when you start unfolding and unpacking what mindfulness is. And it's all these words that are up here. Professor John Kabat-Zinn, he's a professor of medicine at Massachusetts University. He said that the present moment is the only time we have to know anything. It is the only time we have to change, learn, perceive, but we're not here. It's about the most difficult thing for a human being to be, is present in this moment. So I'm going to show you some tips and techniques on how you can drop in. You can connect with your own awareness. And as soon as you become aware, it sets you free. So what is mindfulness really? It's when you are 100% in the present moment, no matter what that might be. So it doesn't matter if you're busy with a project and it's difficult and things are coming at you, but in that busyness, you can stop, rest in this moment, and just become aware of this incredible time, which is a miracle in progress, because every breath is a blessing. And it's just that we are not here. We are not participating in our own life. It is rushing by us. So it means bringing your entire focus and awareness to each action, especially when we are going through challenges. It is not only the clearest path to being effective, it is the best way to ensure that you do not burn out. It's not difficult. It takes a little practice, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So interesting. The word Homo sapiens means the one who knows that it knows. So isn't that fascinating? So when you start dropping in and becoming aware of yourself, you'll find very quickly that the mind is constantly judging. It is black or white. It is right or wrong. So the idea is, when you drop in and you become aware, is not to judge the judge, because that's who we are. We are aware that we are aware. And that is an amazing thing. And that's what separates us from other species. So I'm going to take 3 minutes of your life right now, and I'm going to do a mindfulness exercise. So what I'd like you to do is put your hands together like I'm doing, one on top of the other, connect your thumbs and put your hands in your lap. The reason we put the hands together is to integrate the brain hemispheres. So put your hands together, sit comfortably, and allow your eyes to close as we take 3 minutes to be mindful.
Meditation 8, the 3-minute breathing space. taking a breathing space, making a definite change in your posture so it embodies a sense of being awake. Perhaps closing the eyes if that's possible. And beginning step 1 by seeing what's going on in your mind and body right now. What's the weather pattern like inside? What thoughts are around? What feelings are here? Any sensations in the body? Not trying to change anything, but opening to what's already here. Then, moving to step 2, bringing the attention to the breath, narrowing the spotlight of attention on sensations of the breath in the abdomen, tuning into the changing physical sensations of the in-breath for its full duration and the out-breath for its full duration. And if the mind wanders, simply acknowledging where it went and gently escorting it back to the breath. And now step 3, expanding the focus of your awareness around the breath to take in the whole body, as if the whole body were breathing now. Aware of your posture, your facial expression, sensations on the surface of the skin, and from right inside the body. Holding in awareness all the sensations in your body right now, just as they are. Coming home to the body. Coming home to this moment.
So how did that feel? When I ask my clients that, they'll say, I feel more relaxed. I feel more peaceful. Well, that's just 3 minutes. So does mindfulness mean that you need to adopt a formal posture, sit there, close your eyes, make sure everything's peaceful? No, it doesn't mean that. Life is mindfulness. And no matter what you're going through, how busy you are, or lack of, or how sad or depressed, all you need is to become aware. Drop in for those few moments, to rest in this moment. And as you rest in this moment, you also heal your body. So let's explore a little bit further. When I'm mindful, my body releases tension. Being mindful is enough. You can heal your body when you are mindful. Every moment is full, beautiful, and complete. When you're mindful, you bring multiple intelligences to challenges. So what happens is when you are in this moment, fully in this moment, it means that the reflective and innovative parts of the brain, which lie at the top of the prefrontal cortex, open. And you can access these multiple intelligences to bring solutions to problems that you're dealing with. But if you're stressed, if you're feeling overwhelmed by the toxicity of what is happening to you, those areas of the brain shut down. And in fact, we go into the limbic brain, which is the emotional brain, which is not helpful. Because if cortisol is in the hippocampus, which is your memory center, you can't recall information that you know. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Mindfulness is much more than IQ and EQ. We first have to wake up to our inner experience and attend consciously to these insights. The solution is inside. Inside is the way out. And the obstacle is the thing. That is what creates meaning, and that is what creates change. And when you're going through difficult cycles, it's important to know that you are going through accelerated consciousness. So we're living in an era of a pandemic, which is driven by fear. Today, we can measure emotions in microwatts of energy. And we know that fear measures in at 100 microwatts per second. So that's about 100 microwatts less than where we should be, which is where courage lies. Courage at 200 microwatts is where our needs are met. Opportunities arise, people offer help. But the unfortunate thing is when we're in fear, we tend to attract more suffering and negative experiences. And I'm going to share with you the map of consciousness where all these emotions have been mapped so that you can understand where am I and how do I move myself up to courage. And I'm going to give you the skills today, a neuroscience technique that you will be able to use to change your thoughts, feelings, and intentions, because that is how you change the emotion and what you attract. So we live in a digital world imprisoned by our devices and lack of human contact. The real tragedy of COVID, apart from the loss of our loved ones, is that it has cut us off from interacting with people. Our brains are wired to connect to one another. It's called social intelligence. And when that is taken away from us, it can lead to severe depression and despair. And that's why I feel very, very sorry for young people, because they don't understand what is happening to them, but it's a major part of how we are wired to one another. So the truth is that for many of us, we are operating in this virtual world. So our life is in the ether all day long. You're going from meetings to meetings and you're operating in this virtual world. But what this distraction can do is leave you feeling fragmented. It can leave you feeling irritated. I remember when the looting was going on, I had a call from my daughter-in-law who just said, I'm feeling so scared. Now she's in digital marketing, so they keep the radio on in the background. So not only have they got the news running 24/7, but they're also on social media, reading all the negative inputs of people. If you're exposed to all that negative information and you've drank a lot of coffee, by 12 o'clock, you're going to be feeling scared, fragmented, and distracted. So we need to make time to ground ourselves. And the easiest way to do that is for 5 minutes in the morning is to go outside. If you can go outside, take your shoes off and walk on the grass, because the ground is full of negative ions. We need negative ions because our body is full of positive ions. So just walking on the grass for a few minutes will help ground you. Or if you have trees in your environment, it's just to touch that tree. It immediately grounds you. So it's such an easy thing to do in the morning and in the afternoon. And don't worry about those who see you touching trees. If they think you're a loony, that's okay. It's very easy to think that we're living in the worst era. I remember, especially after the looting, I think if you had to measure South African stress levels, we would have been the highest in the world. But the truth is, we have been through a lot worse in this country and in fact in the world. 50 years ago, South Africa was entrenched in one of the deepest, darkest periods of our history, apartheid. Just 60 years ago, World War killed 75 million people. That's just 60 years ago. The suffering and the despair that was created as a result of that is still being felt today. In the 1960s, it was measured that 85% of the world was illiterate. Can you imagine what hardship that brought? It's unbelievable to think about that. I believe that that figure has now dropped to 15%. So I'm not saying that there aren't challenges. There are challenges, but there is a path through this. So when we get caught up in the toxicity of our pain and perception, it's going to exacerbate suffering. It is possible to be in a wise relationship with these difficulties. How do we become mindful when our world seems to be falling apart? By not making enemies, especially to ourselves. We can be very unkind to ourselves. That is the first thing that has to stop, is the terrible, negative, destructive self-talk. Mindfulness is the opposite of suffering because it turns you inwards to your humanity. It enables you to listen to yourself and to others. It's okay to talk about grief, loss, isolation. In fact, that is the only way you get into the epicenter of your trauma and through to the other side. It is so important to know that you can reach out. People care, and all you have to do is take off the lenses through which you are viewing your world and your pain and reach out. It is possible to find a path through this pain and suffering. When you become a bit more aware, you begin to realize that there's a lot about yourself you don't know. And when I say to clients, have you ever stopped and thought about, who am I? What is my greater purpose? Where are my values? Most people have not even stopped to think about that. So it does start with going inside and getting to know yourself a little better. And there's nothing new about this. The ancient Greeks, Sophocles said, know thyself. So you can work with this tension, not against it. The truth is you can't suppress or deny any negative emotion. If you try and suppress it or deny it, it implodes. It goes somewhere else in the body. And that is a sure way to start disease. You can find clarity, courage, and peace. You can change your life by befriending your own experience. So we're going to explore mindfulness in more depth. And I'm going to take you through the sacrifice syndrome, because when you're caught up in the despair and depression of your situation, and I have such empathy for you today who have come here to find a solution. I understand how that feels. You are not alone. But know that there is a pathway through this pain and suffering. I'm going to make you aware of what happens when we are embedded in the sacrifice syndrome. It's called the sacrifice syndrome because we sacrifice ourselves, our health, our families. And then we'll try a longer mindfulness exercise and see how you cope with that. So where are most of us? The inner experience of most people is marked by constant stress. Most of the stress that results in emotional and physical disorders is psychological in origin. Now, this was written by Dr. David Hawkins. Hawkins has been a psychiatrist for 50 years. He ran one of the largest psychiatric practices in New York. and he's collected a little bit of data. So we use his data. So what Hawkins is saying is that you are viewing the world through the lens of your experience, through your perceptions, through the programming that you've received. But what I'm saying to you is take off the lenses, take off the blinkers. I want you to look at the energy that you are. If you could take the energy, the person that you are, and you could redirect it, you could reduce anxiety and take away fear, who would you be then? Most people say, I would be a fuller version of myself, a bigger version, somebody who's in touch with their own potential, somebody who's filled with everlasting love and endless peace. That's what's in there when you take a deep look. So let's have a look at the sacrifice syndrome. And this is the work of Professor Richard Boyatzis. He's a professor of psychology at Case, Western Reserve, and he wrote that marvelous book, Resonant Leadership, which he co-authored with Annie Mckee. So this is how it starts. Under pressure, defensive, anxious, nervous. So who can say that they have not experienced this year? And in fact, last year, we have been through 2 extremely difficult years that have been so challenging for so many. When we start feeling like this, it leads to power stress. Power stress occurs because you have to influence other people. You're not on a farm where you don't have to interact with people. You have to interact with people. And because of that, the neural circuitry of fear begins to become clear. This circuitry has been well and finely mapped by neuroscientists, and it always follows the same pathway. So we process information via our senses. So we look at our bank balances. We start to get this hot feeling, your temperature's increasing. You can feel your heart rate's accelerating. And the feeling is like, what do I do now? Where do I go now? Who is going to help me now? You reach out to people who you think will help you, and they say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. So it gets worse. You can't sleep at night. It affects your diet. It affects your relationship with others. So what happens at this stage is that the neurons are now firing on the right-hand side of the prefrontal cortex. We know from MRIs, when the neurons fire on the right-hand side, the negative thoughts come into the body. And then, of course, the hormones. It starts the negative neuroendocrine cascade, and the bad hormones begin to flood the brain and body. It produces cortisol. It's cortisol that does the damage, the stress hormone. Cortisol attacks your immunoglobulin A. So your immune system goes down. So now suddenly, you're on the second course of antibiotics, you're not getting over this chest infection. Your diet is affected. Your sleep is affected. You wake up in the early hours of the morning. You can't fall back to sleep again. And then, if there's no positive answer forthcoming, this just continues and continues. And if this continues over a long period, it will trigger anabolic endorphins in the body, which start disease. So if you have come to this today, what I'm here to tell you is that this need not be your path. The path through this is to open mindfulness. It's to switch on the light of hope, and it's to be compassionate. And I'm going to show you how you're going to open these pathways. When these pathways are open and active, the same neural circuitry is going on in the brain, but now the neurons fire on the left. When the neurons fire on the left, the good hormones, oxytocin, vasopressin, come into the body, and they fight the bad hormones, and they boost your confidence, and they leave you with these feelings of being hopeful or optimistic or peaceful or looking forward to the future. So mindfulness starts with a conscious awareness of you. And the way we open that pathway is I'm going to email you a whole series of exercises. These exercises have been provided to us by Professor Richard Boyatzis. And you're going to read through it. And the first exercise is going to ask you, where am I in the sacrifice syndrome? It's very important to identify where you are. When you know where you are, you can start looking deeper. So what is my personal vision? What is my future vision? Where are my values? Values are very important because your greatest conflicts occur when those values have been compromised. So it is essential to go inside and take a good, long, hard look. Who am I? When you do these questionnaires, don't treat it like a tick box exercise. You know, it's not going to help you. I want you to stop and go in your heart and get the answers from your heart, because your heart knows a lot more than your head. This is a fantastic biological computer, but your heart has more wisdom. So when you've worked through the mindfulness exercises, what you will find is that that light of hope is going to switch on. With hope aroused, it leads to compassion. And compassion begins with you. It begins with you. Don't ever forget that. It's not about helping others and then not helping yourself. It's about helping yourself first, and then you'll be able to reach out to others. So the hope is beautifully illustrated in the work of Viktor Frankl. He was the Viennese psychiatrist who was interned in the concentration camps during the Second World War. And he wrote in that beautiful book, Man's Search for Meaning, where he described how, together with his best friend, they had survived the most terrible atrocities. And they were coming to the end of the war. And his best friend said to him, the Allies are going to break into this camp on the 30th of March. And although he had the year right, he got the month wrong, because history shows they broke in later that year. So on the 29th of March, his friend became delirious. On the 30th of March, he lapsed into a coma. And on the 31st of March, he died. And from the outset, Frankl said it would have appeared as though he had died of typhus. But he said, I know he died because he lost hope. So what I'm saying to you today is, do not lose hope. There is a light on and you can reach out. There is help available. When hope is alive, it leads to compassion. So when you have been compassionate towards yourself, it's very, very easy to help others. And I want to tell you a beautiful story that I got from a hospice physician in Colorado. So hospice physicians are kind of externalized, you know, they've kind of done the internal work and they're out there to help other people. So he said he was driving along Colorado Boulevard and his car started to choke, splutter, and die. And he said he managed to coast, cursing, you know, into a petrol station, just glad that he wouldn't be blocking traffic and he would have a somewhat warm spot to wait for the tow truck because it wouldn't even turn over. He said while he's sitting there, he saw this woman come out of the Quickie Mart building. And it looked as though she'd slipped on some ice and fallen. So he jumped out to help her. But as he got there, he said everything came into sharp focus for him. The ancient vehicle crammed full of stuff with 3 small children, 1 baby in a car seat, and the pump reading $1.66. He said, you know, are you all right? Are you okay? And he realized that she was overcome by sobs, that she had not fallen. And he said he took out his card reader, he swiped it through the pump so that he could fill up her car. He went into the McDonald's, he bought some food and some gift certificates for more. And he gave it to her. She gave it to the children, who attacked it like little wolves. And then she started opening up a little bit and said that things had been really hard for her. Her boyfriend had left her in December, and come January, she knew she wouldn't have money to pay for the rent. So she called her parents, to whom she hadn't spoken in 5 years, and they said to her, you know, please come to Canada so that you can get back on your feet, and, you know, we can help you. And she packed everything that she could into the vehicle without telling the children. And as he's leaving, he hands her his gloves and he just says, have a wonderful day. So as he's walking away, she says, so are you like some kind of an angel or something? And he says, angels are really busy these days, so sometimes God has to use normal people. He said it was just so incredible to be part of her miracle. So that's what happens when you start being compassionate towards yourself. You're then capable of helping others. So let's continue. We have amazing capabilities. You've always heard that we're using a certain part of the brain. But the brain is constantly adapting and changing, and that's what's called neuroplasticity. It can reshape itself. Research has shown that in just 8 weeks of regular mindfulness, it's possible to reduce the size of the amygdala. So the amygdala is that part in the emotional brain that rises up and creates the fight or flight syndrome. So you can reduce the size of the amygdala and you can grow the memory and learning capacity of the brain. That is new scientific research. Our thoughts, feelings, intentions create our reality. And today I'm going to show you how you can change those thoughts, feelings, and intentions and liberate yourself from this prison. Each and every one of you has the ability to drop into your own awareness. The part of you that you cannot put into words. The part of you that is non-judgmental. The part of you that has boundaryless potential, endless love, and eternal peace. Because when you go inside, you truly drop in, you will gain a glimpse of who you are at the deepest level. And I can assure you, at that deepest level, that is all that you are. All it takes is a little practice of not fighting, kicking against, but to be the observer of self-compassion. That is love. This goes, so when you value yourself, it goes from you, encoding, communicating, ad infinitum. Eternally. They say when you shake somebody's hand, you connected to that person eternally. Wow, isn't that a scary thought? But the truth is that when you're in a state of compassion and you're being compassionate towards others, you literally change the environment of other people too. And you create an island of peace and of love. And we are powerful, energetic beings. So this travels from you, encoding, communicating. When the mind gets out of its own way, you are building equanimity. Now, that is the most beautiful English word that I have discovered. Equanimity means elegant imperfection. Elegant imperfection. Wow. That means you have the permission not to be perfect, to build equanimity, elegant imperfection, an ability to meet challenges and obstacles with openness and a balance of mind and heart. Have a look at this beautiful video.
If this time has taught me anything, it is that the tiny speck in this universe that we occupy is both wonderful and wondrous, and if we allow it to, the beauty around us can unlock the beauty within us and teach us far more than our schooling ever did. If this time has taught me anything, it is that success and how we measure it needs to be redefined, and that the only person to whom you should ever compare yourself is who you were yesterday. Make your growth game strong, and along the way be kind to yourself. If you are doing your best, then you are doing enough. If this time has taught me anything, it is that it is more important now than ever before to see the world through your own eyes. Begin by looking at yourself. Look honestly and look gently. Look inward with compassion and kindness, and look outward with humility and appreciation. If this time has taught me anything, it is that the opposite of love is not hate but fear. And our greatest fear is losing that to which we have become attached. Yesterday is heavy. Put it down. Seeing the beauty in the world around you is the first step in purifying and clearing the mind. And if this time has taught me anything, it is that nature, unlike us, never apologizes for her beauty. If this time has taught me anything, it is that life really is about the journey, not the destination. And it must be, for surely we are not here merely to reach the destination, for the destination is death. Be alive, for after all, life is all you've got. And when you pay attention to the things for which you are grateful, you soon forget about what you think you're missing. If this time has taught me anything, it is that bitter tears are the quietest, and on the days when your head wants to hang low, it is important that you look up. Lift your head. Take it in and breathe deep, for while this world can sometimes be a hard place, your reality and what you perceive it to be are seldom aligned. If this time has taught me anything, it is that beauty truly is in the eye of the beholder. We can see universes within universes, but only when we pay enough attention. And this is as true of the nature within us as it is of the nature around us. If this time has taught me anything, it is this. If true love conquers everything, then self-love gives it the fortitude to do so. Know that you are more than your scars. Know that every wound in you that has healed along the way has taught you what it is to fight back and to start again from where you are with what you've got. Beat your own pathway without seeking the approval of others, and know that self-love is not vanity. If this time has taught me anything, it is this. Hope matters, and we cannot live without it. This time has taught me that hope is not a wish, nor a desire for things to be different. It is a course of action, a combination of mind and heart. The future can be better and can be brighter.
So such a beautiful video, and such wisdom. That's really what COVID is teaching us, is it's to be who we are and to love who we are. I think it's the message. Love is the only thing that is real. Healing is coming to terms with who you are and asking, how can I be in a wise relationship with what is happening? You can release that which no longer serves you. The past is the past. And I can assure you, you are free in this moment to choose who you want to be. All you need is inside you. I said to a client yesterday, every question you ask in this entire life, the answers are inside you. And if you can just take a moment and drop inside, take a temperature check, you can access your own wisdom where the answers lie. You already merit healing, happiness, rewarding relationships, financial prosperity, career success, and total well-being. When you love unconditionally, you become living expressions of God on earth. And you bring earth closer to heaven. I love that. I love it. You are not here by accident, and your journey has not been in vain. You cannot lose who or what you are. There is only one way to find peace, and that is inside you. The world has never been your true home. Your home is not geographical, it is spiritual. The only purpose here is to replace fear with love. When you do that, grace will lead you home. So I want to share with you this map of consciousness, which Dr. David Hawkins has mapped, where they measure emotions in microwatts of energy. And many of you looking at this are going to try and work out where you are or where you've been. So let's just take a look at shame. Shame is the lowest of all the emotions, and it measures in at 20 microwatts. What was very sad for me when the looting was going on is that the following day, clients were saying to me, I'm ashamed to be a South African. And I thought, wow, shame is a harsh word. Because if you think of shame, it is characterized by humiliation, hanging your head in shame. It is traditionally accompanied by banishment. It is destructive to health. It leads to cruelty towards self and others. If you are at that level, your life is going to be filled with suffering. It is not where you want to be. The next level up is guilt. And I say this for all the working parents. Let guilt go. The latest research from the University of London is showing that children whose parents work, including mothers, have a greater degree of independence later in life and live more fulfilled lives. Remember, your children are inspired by what you do. So if you are doing a job that, although it is hard, it gives meaning to your life, you are being closely watched by your children who will emulate your behavior. So let guilt go, because guilt leads to self-rejection, masochism, remorse, feeling bad, self-sabotage. It's all my fault. Accident proneness, suicidal behavior, and projection of self-hatred onto evil others are common. It is the basis of many psychosomatic illnesses. The next level up is apathy. We had that absolutely appalling situation where those mentally challenged people were left to die. That is surely the worst form. And this energy field is characterized by hopelessness, playing dead, being a drain to others. Last night, my partner said to me, there are people in the medical profession who are suffering from compassion fatigue. I am sure they are so drained, they have nothing more left to give. But they need to remember why they went into the profession. They need to stop and go inside and give back to themselves, because that is the only way that you can help others. So apathy, measuring in at 50 microwatts, is a dreadful emotion filled with suffering. The next level up is grief, and we are all plunged down to this level at certain stages of our life. And it means different things to different people. I have a client who lost a pet. He was absolutely inconsolable. I have a father whose daughter got married. He was overwhelmed by grief. And of course, for many of us, we are suffering from the losses of loved ones. It is good to grieve the loss. That is the only way you get into the epicenter and through to the other side. But to stay there is to bring in a great deal of misery for yourself. Make a commitment that you can rise above it. Then we go to fear. This is what I told you earlier. Fear measures in at 100 microwatts per second. Look at this. This energy sees danger, which is everywhere. It is avoidant, defensive, preoccupied with security, possessive of others, jealous, restless, anxious, vigilant. 100 microwatts is not a desirable force, but it is better than shame. Addictions, it can be process or substance. So it can be something like alcohol, or it can be a cell phone. It is always seeking gain, acquisition, pleasure, getting something outside yourself. It will never be satisfied. I have to have it now. Give it to me. Give it to me now. That's 120 microwatts. Causes a great deal of suffering. And then we go up to anger, which measures in at 150 microwatts. Anger uses force to overcome fear. Not a good energy level at all. And then we go up to pride. Pride is considered a negative when you measure yourself as being better than others. Then it becomes a negative. But if it's pride over your work, it can be a good thing. So these are all frequencies that we call force frequencies. When you're operating down in these emotions, your life is going to be filled with a lot of suffering and with a lot of hardship. But as soon as you move out of this level into courage, which lies at 200 microwatts per second, everything around you begins to change. This is called a power frequency. So this energy says, I can do it. It is determined, excited about life, productive, independent, self-empowered. Effective action is possible. At this level, your needs are met. People offer help. Opportunities come about. It is possible to raise yourself up to this level. And if you just get to courage, your needs will be met. And of course, then you can go up the scale, and many of you have even been up at different levels, such as reason, love, and so on. There were only 4 people who ever got to the level of enlightenment, which is 1,000 microwatts per second, and that would have been Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and Zoroastrian. And I didn't know who he was. I had to look him up. He was a 7th century priest from southeastern Iraq. We founded the precepts of Hinduism. So if you just stay down, at courage, it is a brilliant level to be at. And I'm going to give you a neuroscience technique where you can change your thoughts, feelings, and intentions. And in so doing, raise your level. So now let's try a 13-minute mindfulness exercise to reduce anxiety. So again, put your hands together, put them in your lap, close your eyes. This is your special time. And let's take this time to reduce anxiety.
Welcome. In this short exercise, we will guide you through what may be a new way for you to address the common and natural experience of anxiety. You will be focusing on your breath and attending to your thoughts and feelings in a helpful way. When you are finished, you may feel calmer immediately. With repeated use, you may have anxiety less frequently and experience it less intensely when you do. This exercise is also available in different lengths. Let's begin. Find or create a quiet space now. If possible, Choose somewhere you can close your eyes without concern. If you like, sit on a cushion with your legs folded in front of you. You can also sit upright in a chair without using the backrest. Leaning back is fine too. Just try to keep your back as straight as possible. Now loosen any restrictive clothing, turn off any ringers, and switch your mobile phone or tablet to airplane mode. We will remind you they are off when the session is over. Place your hands on your knees or in your lap, palms up, one on top of the other. If possible, let your eyes close. If you need to, pause this recording now until you are ready. Now, take a few deep breaths through your nose, long and slow. Feel your belly filling on the in-breath. Let it empty on the out-breath. Now let go control of your breath and just breathe naturally. Let the breath determine its own length and begin to notice your physical body too. Feel your weight against your seat. Feel your upright posture. Feel your whole body just hanging from your frame. Now continue breathing naturally while we provide some background information. Anxiety is a universal human experience. You may have worries on your mind, fear in your heart, or panic in your body. It may affect your appetite, your sleep, or how you live your life. You may be anxious for good reason or in certain situations, or there may be no apparent cause at all. Either way, the anxiety you feel is normal and a sign of health. It means you care about yourself, your life, and others. But excessive worry isn't useful. It isn't healthy or enjoyable. Fortunately, there is a simple way to regulate anxiety, and there is hope. The technique you are about to use can be learned. In this exercise, you won't ignore, suppress, or deny your anxious thoughts and feelings, nor will you try to figure out where they came from or why they're here. None of that gets to the root of your concern. Instead of trying to rid yourself of anxious thoughts, you will them. Instead of repressing anxious feelings, you will make space for them and watch them lose their power over you. Let's try it now. Breathe deeply and be sure you're in a comfortable and stable position. You want to be relaxed but alert. Now breathe naturally and place your attention at the entrance to your nose. Notice how it feels just inside your nose when you breathe. Feel the cool air going in. Feel the warm air going out. Cool in. Warm out. Do just this for a few moments. Just this for a few more moments now. Keep your attention on the place just inside your nose where you most feel your breath. Be curious, impartial. Let the breath breathe itself. You just watch and experience. Have your experience and observe yourself having it at the same time. If the breath is short and shallow, Feel and notice that. If the breath is long and deep, feel and notice that. Notice if it stays the same. Notice if it changes. No matter how well you focus on your breath, sooner or later you will lose your focus. When you do, the important thing is not to judge or criticize yourself. We all get distracted. With anxiety, thoughts and feelings are most likely to intrude. If anxious thoughts arise, briefly move your attention to the thought. Your thoughts may be about things that could go wrong, or things you need to do. They may concern what you imagine others think of you, or how you judge yourself. Whatever they are, keep your focus off of the words or content of the thought, and on the mere fact that you are thinking. Notice that your thought arises on its own, and let it pass. Then gently, blamelessly, return your attention to your breathing, just inside your nose. Try it for a moment now. When you worry, your thoughts take you to the past or future. What happened last time? What may happen this time? Focusing on your breath keeps you in the present. This helps you stay calm. Try it a bit more now. Be fully present to each of your next few breaths. You will likely be distracted by emotions, too. You may have fear or sadness, even anger. If you look closely, you will see that what we call emotions are just a combination of sensations in your body and thoughts in your mind. Anxiety itself is such a pairing. When anxious feelings arise, notice the two parts. See how your thoughts go with certain feelings. You may feel squeezing in your chest, shortness of breath, or rapid heart rate. You may even feel lightheaded or confused. Try this for a moment now. Now choose to rest your attention on the feeling in your body, not the thought in your mind. Just experience the physical sensations without trying to change them. Try it for a moment now. As with the breath, notice if the feeling changes. Notice if it stays the same. Unpleasant feelings often wither under this kind of calm attention. Watch and feel what happens for another moment now. Finally, gently leave the feeling and return your attention to your breath and nose. Feel the cool air and the warm air once again. Do this for a moment now. In a few moments, we will complete this exercise. Before we do, remember a few things for when you listen to it again. When you are anxious, both unpleasant thoughts and feelings may be present. Thinking the distressing thoughts only makes the feelings stronger. But when instead you focus on the physical sensations in your body, distressing thoughts and feelings both diminish. Finally, notice that returning to the breath gives you the most relief of all. And know that your experiences are not you. Thoughts and feelings are just things you experience with your mind and body, the same as you experience a sound with your ear or a smell with your nose. But they are not you. When you are ready, slowly open your eyes if they have been closed. Notice how you feel compared to when you started. Appreciate your efforts. Whatever you were able to do, or however your mind wandered, the time you took today itself is your success. Know that you can repeat this exercise as often as you like, and return to this place inside yourself whenever you choose. Remember that your ringers and mobile devices have been turned off. We hope you have enjoyed this exercise and found it helpful.
Very special. So, sorry, I think I was muted there. When I ask clients, so how did that feel? People will say, I feel lighter, I feel so much better. And that's just taking a few moments for yourself. To complete this module, I'm going to play this very special TED Talk. And many of my clients have said, that movie was life-changing. So enjoy this very special production on being mindful. And then we'll come back and take a break and go into our second module, which is going to give you the neuroscience technique so that you can change your thoughts, feelings, and intentions. Enjoy this very special TED Talk.
Hi, everybody. I feel like I'm in a revival. This is great. It's great to be back in my old stomping grounds of San Francisco. When I graduated UCLA, I moved to Northern California, and I lived in a little town called Elk on the Mendocino coast. And I didn't have a phone or TV, but I had US mail. And life was good back then, if you could remember it. I'd go to the general store for a cup of coffee and a brownie, and I'd ship my film to San Francisco, and lo and behold, 2 days later, it would end up on my front door, which was way better than having to fight the traffic of Hollywood. I didn't have much money, but I had time and a sense of wonder. So I started shooting time-lapse photography. It would take me a month to shoot a 4-minute roll of film because that's all I could afford. I've been shooting time-lapse flowers continuously, nonstop, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for over 30 years. And to see them move is a dance I'll never get tired of. Their beauty immerses us with color, taste, touch. It also provides a third of the food we eat. Beauty and seduction is nature's tools for survival because we protect what we fall in love with. It opens our hearts and makes us realize we are a part of nature and we're not separate from it. When we see ourselves in nature, it also connects us to every one of us because it's clear that it's all connected in one. When people see my images, a lot of times they'll say, "Oh my God." Have you ever wondered what that meant? The O means it caught your attention. It makes you present, makes you mindful. The my means it connects with something deep inside your soul. It creates a gateway for your inner voice to rise up and be heard. And God is that personal journey we all want to be on, to be inspired, to feel like we're connected to a universe that celebrates life. Did you know that 80% of the information we receive comes through our eyes? And if you compare light energy to musical scales, it would only be one octave that the naked eye could see, which is right in the middle. And aren't we grateful for our brains that can, take this electrical impulse that comes from light energy to create images in order for us to explore our world? And aren't we grateful that we have hearts that can feel these vibrations in order for us to allow ourselves to feel the pleasure and the beauty of nature? Nature's beauty is a gift that cultivates appreciation and gratitude. So I have a gift I want to share with you today, a project I'm working on called Happiness Revealed. And it'll give us a glimpse into that perspective from the point of view of a child and an elderly man of that world.
When I watch TV, it's just some shows that are pretend. And when you explore, you get more imagination than you already had. And when you get more imagination, it makes you want to go deeper in so you can get more and see beautiful things. Like the path. If it's a path, it could lead you to a beach or something, and it could be beautiful.
You think this is just another day in your life? It's not just another day. It's the one day that is given to you today. It's given to you. It's a gift. It's the only gift that you have right now. And the only appropriate response is gratefulness. If you do nothing else but to cultivate that response to the great gift that this unique day is, if you learn to respond as if it were the first day in your life and the very last day, then you will have spent this day very well. Begin by opening your eyes and be surprised that you have eyes you can open. That incredible array of colors that is constantly offered to us for pure enjoyment. Look at the sky We so rarely look at the sky. We so rarely note how different it is from moment to moment with clouds coming and going. We just think of the weather, and even of the weather we don't think of all the many nuances of weather. We just think of good weather and bad weather. This day, right now, is unique weather. Maybe a kind that will never exactly in that form come again. The formation of clouds in the sky will never be the same that is right now. Open your eyes, look at that. Look at the faces of people whom you meet. Each one has an incredible story behind their face. A story that you could never fully fathom. Not only their own story, but the story of their ancestors. We all go back so far. And in this present moment, on this day, all the people you meet, all that life from generations and from so many places all over the world, flows together and meets you here like a life-giving water if you only open your heart and drink. Open your heart to the incredible gifts that civilization gives to us. You flip a switch and there is electric light. You turn a faucet and there is warm water and cold water and drinkable water. It's a gift that millions and millions in the world will never experience. So these are just a few of an enormous number of gifts to which we can open your heart. And so I wish you that you will open your heart to all these blessings and let them flow through you, that everyone whom you will meet on this day will be blessed by you. Just by your eyes, by your smile, by your touch, just by your presence. Let the gratefulness overflow into blessing all around you. And then it will really be a good day.
What did you think of that? Very, very special. Very, very special. And if this has prompted you to just be a little more mindful in your life, when you're with your children or interacting with your loved ones, or even colleagues, is to be in the moment, that I too have served my purpose. So let's just take a quick comfort break of 5 minutes, and then I'm going to ask a volunteer to participate in the next module, where I'm going to share with you a neuroscience technique so that you can capture these automatic negative thoughts. And by changing your thoughts, feelings, and intentions, you can change the emotions that you project, and in so doing, change your life. So let's take a 5-minute break. So it's now 25 past, so we'll come back just after past. Great, thank you.
For those who can still hear me, let us try and be as prompt as we can. Thank you so much, Gail, for that empowering first session. And we look forward to the next one. Do come back promptly. It is now 11:27. We shall return at 11:32. Thank you. I am hoping that everybody is back. Are we all back and excited to continue? Excited to continue to learn and grow from today. Gail, do we have... You are muted, Gail.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Apologies. I moved, which I shouldn't have. Now I can't be seen. I just want to welcome everybody back and remind them that this is a session donated by the IE group. Initially started as a session we were doing for artists, just to help them navigate these difficult waters that we're all swimming in. But importantly, Gail has donated this and extended it to business, to people in the corporate sector and public service, etc. We thank you all for being here with us, and I shall hand over to Gail as we continue. I must tell you, I'm feeling a lot calmer than I have in a long time. I don't know if it's because I was such a willing and, enthusiastic participant, but I have never felt just this empowered with knowledge, but also just really calm and confident, especially in the last 18 months. So I thank you, and I can't wait for more.
Okay, thank you so much, Carol. So to do this module, to share with you this neuroscience technique that you can use, I would like a participant who would like to go through this technique with me so that I can guide you through the process. It will help your learning and also it will benefit everybody else. So if there is somebody who would like to participate and learn from this module, then you could just switch on your camera and switch on your sound so that I can see you. Okay, so while we wait for a participant, if everybody doesn't want to participate, I'm going to take just 1 second and see if we can bring up the participant.
And I don't have to tell. Shall I volunteer?
Oh, Carol, that would be wonderful. Thank you for that. And I think everybody will really benefit from your participation. So I'd like you to just think about, any challenges that you're currently experiencing. Anything. It can be personal, it can be professional. Everybody here, this is a session that is confidential, and, this is a safe space for you to express yourself. So if you can think of any challenges that are bothering you, then I'd like you to just write them down, and then we're going to chat through them.
Quite an ask. Would you like me, Gail, to put them in the chat rather than do it on my notes?
Or you can just share it with me. You can just speak it aloud so that I can make a note of them.
Okay. I think I'm going through a period where there are quite a few challenges, but the one that I'll focus on for now is one that I would assume I'm not alone in, and I would benefit people by sharing. I think that I'm experiencing a great deal of anxiety about the future. I think that in my businesses, in my personal life, and just life generally, I'm a glass half full type of person. I'm highly optimistic, and I'm finding that I'm no longer that person, and that's sort of arisen in the last 6 months. I think that even at the start of the pandemic, I could see a way forward. I could see a way that one could transcend the challenges and get to a place where confidence returns. I don't know if I continue to be able to see it. I see things as very foggy at the moment. I'm amongst the people, when I listen to you talk about the example of the kind of utterances you were getting during the chaos that took place from the 12th of July and continued well into the 17th, 18th of July. In the middle of that was my birthday. I turned 47 on the 14th of July. And it was the first birthday where I woke up, prayed, and I don't think I prayed in thankfulness for being here, but I prayed out of anxiety for what I thought was happening in the world. So anxiety is my biggest challenge. Lack of optimism is within that, and just despair for South Africa at times. And I think I'll leave it at that. But if you needed a list, I could write a book at the moment.
And well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I think there are a great many people out there who are experiencing a lot of anxiety. But as I pointed out to you, the world is not broken. Yes, it seems as though this is the worst era ever. And certainly there are many, many challenges. But what I'd like you to do is just drop in for a moment into yourself and just take a temperature check. And I want you to take a deep breath. So just breathe in for a few seconds through the nose, feeling the cool air coming in and the warm air as it leaves your body. And I want you to just immediately in this moment, take a look around the room where you're seated and just mention 3 things that you are grateful for.
I am grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the art that surrounds me. I'm grateful for my life.
Beautiful. Thank you, Carol. And you know, if you think about the spirit of South Africans are among the most resilient people in the world. Change is in our blood and in our bones. And if you look at South Africans who are overseas and, you know, working there, they make such a success of their lives, and people are astonished at their work ethic, at their innovation. So we are an incredible people. We really are. And we have come through a great deal. But the truth is that light will always overcome darkness. Always. Let us not forget that it was the collective consciousness of this country who created us an opportunity to negotiate ourselves out of a revolution. It is the collective consciousness of this country that created a new leadership who is trying to deal with the corruption that surrounds us. Every day, I meet with clients who are creating pockets of excellence and hope. Yes, there are many who suffer, but as soon as you stop the world, just get off the bus, drop in, rest in this moment, trust in this moment and appreciate what is around you, it changes your entire perspective. So I want you to just close your eyes for a few seconds now. And I want you to ask, can I be optimistic about my future and wait for the answer? What did you get?
I'm going to try again.
Okay.
I am choosing to be optimistic about the future.
You're choosing to be optimistic. Okay, so life is full of choices. When you make that choice, you change the direction of your life. You are always free to choose. When you wake up in the morning and you decide, I looked outside and I saw it's a beautiful day that I am grateful for. I choose to be joyful today. I choose to be optimistic. You'll find that your emotion will elevate and your attraction will elevate, and you will start to create experiences like that. People will come along and offer help. Opportunities are going to come about. But if we're anxious and depressed and we keep feeding ourselves toxicity, all you're going to do is lower your vibrational frequency and your life is going to become more miserable. So I choose to be optimistic is beautiful. That is my choice. So this is a healthy, what we call a healthy comment on the negative thought. So these negative thoughts that thread through our minds, these are what is known in applied psychology as ants. These are automatic negative thoughts. And I'm going to show you how you can take those ants and you can eradicate them. So the immediate thing that we have to do when we're having these negative thoughts is to realize that negative thoughts are coming from the right-hand side of the prefrontal cortex. Now, you mentioned that you are generally an optimistic person. You see the glass half full. So what that means is that the left-hand side neural circuitry of yours is well developed because you have used that circuitry. This is where the positive thoughts emanate from. And by the way, optimism, pessimism is hardwired. We are born that way. But you can choose to change it, and in so doing, change your life. So when you have a lot of negative thoughts that are overwhelming you, this neural circuitry here is well worn. You've been using these pathways and they have been strengthening. And what I'm going to show you today is by questioning that and saying, I'm not buying this anymore. Today, I have a choice. Today, I choose to be optimistic. I'm going to start by looking around the room and counting all the ways in which I am grateful. You immediately change it and you start developing neural circuitry on the left. The more you are optimistic, the more you choose solutions, the more these pathways are not used and they begin to break down and disintegrate. So the first thing to realize is that the egoic mind loves negativity. It loves the drama. It loves to put you in a hole. So it's to recognize what's going on here and saying, okay, I'm aware of this. So now that I'm aware, I have a choice. I choose another option. And that is how you begin to change it. So we're going to send this handout to everybody that you can work through it in your own time. But you will see that after you've written down the challenges, you need to flip it and you need to turn it on its head and turn it into a healthy outcome. It doesn't have to be positive, but it needs to be healthy. What I loved about what Carol said is, I choose to be optimistic. I know that when I'm in this optimistic frame of mind, solutions can come to me. I can use innovative thinking. I'm now employing all the faculties of my mind. But when I'm in a desperate, negative, depressive state, I'm shutting down those areas of the brain. So now what I'd like you to do is just get out of your head, Carol, and drop into your heart. And I want you to just give me some positive attributes that you believe to be true about yourself. So tell me, who is Carol as the professional? Who is she as the mother, daughter, sister, friend? Just give me some positive attributes that you believe to be true about yourself. And don't overthink this. Let these answers come from your heart.
I won't overthink it, Gail, but I'll give a disclaimer that I am typical South African. So the first thing that comes to mind is to be humble and play it down. I think I'm conscious. I'm a conscious leader. I think I live, whether in my work life, at home, I live from a place of pathos. I think I am filled with love, and I fortify myself with love such that I'm able to share it. At the same time, I overanalyze my environment at all times, which can lead to anxiety. I don't think I'm an anxious person, but if I look at what I've gone through in the last few weeks, I've been highly analytical, and I haven't been able to just be passive and joyful at all times. I think at my core, I am filled with love, joy, and confidence. And I think that's perhaps why I didn't want to volunteer. And I'm curious as to why people didn't volunteer today for this exercise. But I think for me, it was because I feel that I'm not fully myself at the moment. I am, I'm all the things that I've just mentioned.
Okay, well, that's absolutely beautiful. Thank you. And when you reiterate these positive attributes about who you are, somebody who's filled with love, somebody who enjoys sharing that love, it is the humility of a leader, somebody who is filled with gratitude about life. How do you feel when you reiterate those adjectives about who you are?
I feel affirmed, and I feel affirmed mostly by myself, which is not something that I normally do. I think that at the core, I'm very aware of the positive attributes that I have. I'm very, and that's why I'm able to use them. I'm aware that I build people. I'm aware that I go out my way to encourage and empower. And I think that that's something that gives me great joy.
Okay, beautiful. So, for the people who are listening today who find it difficult to come to some positive attributes, I'd like you to just go a little deeper into your hearts. Don't let the ego mind drive this process. Just drop down deep and write down who you really believe you are at your core. That's very, very important. And this is going to become a part of this exercise. So now what I'd like you to do is just, again, get out of the head, get in the heart, and tell me, what is it that you really, really want? What do you want professionally? What do you want personally?
Professionally, I'd love to still grow. I am at a point in my life where I received compliments which made me feel fraudulent. I think I use dangerous words. But I I receive compliments about things that I don't feel I've achieved. So I want to develop further. I want to achieve perhaps the things that I feel I've parked for too long. From a personal perspective, I would like to dedicate as much time to myself as I do to being available for the world. I do a lot. I work in the philanthropy space, not as a philanthropist, but as a humanitarian. And I also, all my programs are geared towards the empowerment of others. And I feel that because of the pandemic, I have neglected myself a little bit, and I would love to be more present for me.
Okay, that's beautiful. Okay, so what I've got is I would love to still grow a need. I want to believe in myself more and give back to myself. That's very, very important, and to be more present in my life. So these are beautiful things, and I think you should write them down and keep them in a safe place and just reflect on these things, because it is an expression of where you are, and it's kind of a preemie statement of your life so that you can grow your awareness. And I love the part about, giving back to yourself, believing in yourself more. We are all on this journey of self-discovery. And, the greatest challenge I've experienced, certainly in a 30-year coaching career, is the lack of self-value. We all, at some level, feel that we are not good enough. So it's a beautiful thing that you are aware, because it is only through that awareness that you can change it. So let's go on and have a look at the formula. Before we get to the formula, the neuroscience technique, I'd like you to just read this aloud, Carol, because you do have this beautiful voice. Read it aloud for everybody.
Thank you, Gail. Our beliefs shape our lives in profound ways. The important thing to know is that they are not permanent, and that you can change them to reflect who you are now. The first step to shifting disempowering beliefs is to become aware of how many times we engage in negative self-talk. Is it CHEC?
Yes, check system.
Okay, the check system we have developed is a strategy to raise awareness in order to create more healthy and empowering beliefs that serve you better in your life now. Your beliefs and false conclusions are not cast in stone. At any point of the process, you can make the choice to change the conclusions that are central to your belief system and the intentions you project. So let go of your past and take back your power. As a thinking adult, you have the option to make clear and healthy choices regarding what to believe about yourself, your value, and your power in the world. Continue.
Yes, please.
Remember that even a small shift in consciousness can reverse the course of history. You may have lived your whole life with nagging feelings of doubt and inferiority, but it's time to let them go. Always be aware that you have the power to choose a different way at any moment. You can establish an entirely new system of belief, one that redefines you as unlimited, vibrant, empowered, and creative, projecting a force of consciousness that will shift your reality and change the very quality of your life.
Beautiful. Keep going.
What would you do if you could never judge or criticize yourself again? That alone would change everything.
But just think about that. We talk to ourselves at over 160 words a minute. We have between 50 to 80,000 thoughts a day. So if those thoughts are all about, I'm suffering the imposter phenomenon, I can't do this, I'm going to fail, I'm not good enough, all it's going to do, by the end of the day, you're going to be down in shame and guilt. And of course, when you're down there, there's a huge amount of misery that will come into your life. So if you just change the self-talk, everything around you would change. So the important thing is to catch those ads and know that this is the egoic mind that loves the negativity. At your core, it is not who you are. Okay, keep reading. You're doing a great job.
You will transmit an intention of self-honor and self-acceptance, the very heart of brilliant consciousness creation. Once these positive elements become part of your life, you'll find yourself moving into accelerated success. If you really want to succeed, your old patterns of self-dismissal, self-criticism, or even self-condemnation must be a thing of the past. You always have the option to think differently, to focus on a self-valuing truth, and arrive at a brand new conclusion. The very moment that you make this a choice, you send a signal that you're ready to receive. Your psychology starts with your mental and emotional responses. By clearly understanding your patterns, you can open yourself to more healthy and self-empowering action. This, in turn, will greatly shift the energy you project. So allow yourself to set this process in motion and create much more rewarding results. I feel like I get it, but sorry, you are really already a powerful manifester. You might as well take steps to consciously direct this manifestation and create the mind of destiny you really want.
So we are powerful manifestors. Our thoughts, feelings, intentions have created the life that is around us. So everything that is showing up in your life is part of what you have created. But if you can change those thoughts, feelings, and intentions, you can also change the reality. That's the truth. It's actually quantum physics. So let's have a look at the formula. So I've added in some information here on how the brain works and its neuroplasticity. And now we're going to go into the CHECK system. CHECK is the acronym that we use, and C stands for catch the ants, which is exactly what Carol said courageously, is that, I'm feeling a lot of anxiety about the future. But, when we explored that, Carol was able to flip it and said, I choose to be optimistic. So please just read this rationale aloud for everybody, Carol.
Develop an awareness of your toxic perceptions as they appear in your daily experience, even if they're subtle and hidden deep within your consciousness. Many of us live in a state of unconsciousness where we not only fail to resist our negative patterns, we don't even recognize them. This is what becoming conscious is all about: choosing to see the truth of your daily habits and arriving at some mastery over them. If you're not aware of how often you criticize yourself, it'll be impossible to formulate the high self-regard that the universe loves to respond to. And if you can't identify the many ways in which you focus on what you lack throughout the day, it'll be impossible to shift to a value consciousness that will change your life. The first obvious sign that you need to make a shift is uncomfortable feelings. Let that discomfort be an alarm bell to the fact that you're making some conclusions that no longer serve you. It's time to design a higher consciousness and a clearer projection. So when you notice some difficult feelings come up, ask yourself, what are the negative conclusions I may be drawing about the present circumstances? Be especially aware of any assumption that takes you out of your authentic power, your optimism, your self-acceptance, or your peace. Just by recognizing that you don't want to linger in your discomfort, you'll be initiating a healthy new intention. And in your journal, write down any toxic perceptions as they appear in your daily experience.
Thank you, Carol. So the important thing is to become aware of these negative thoughts. And often we can feel it in the body before we even conscious of it. So we call this our emotional GPS. So it feels horrible. It is a dark, dense feeling, and you can feel this fear rising in you. So fear is normally anchored in the stomach. So that's where you can feel it. And relationship issues are normally in the heart center. So it's just become conscious of this negative feeling, and let that be an alarm bell to warn you. I'm coming to some conclusions that no longer serve me. So therefore, immediately, let me take this ant and flip it and choose a healthy outcome. So the C is catch the ant. The H is immediately develop a healthy possibility. And the system works best if you journalize it. So when you've caught that negative feeling, write it in your journal. Immediately follow it with a healthy possibility. So Carol, if you don't mind just reading the rationale for H aloud.
Even if you're in the moment of worry or negative self-talk, stop and remind yourself, I have an option here. Right next to the thought you're having is a moment that's worry-free. Right next to the fear is a choice that embraces trust and peace. There are always options and shifts, and through your new awareness, there's a whole new world to be experienced. No matter where you are mentally, there's a different consideration that can take you to dramatically different realities, both immediately and in the long span of your life. So don't just accept your habits as truth. It's time to let go of false living and move into new thought forms that, although they may seem strange to you at first, can create sustainable and meaningful change. Always ask yourself, what are my possibilities? What are my healthy possibilities? Consider those options and then move to step 3 with full determination.
Well done. Thank you so much for reading that for us with your beautiful voice. Then we move to E in check, which is emphasize who you know you are and what you want. And this is exactly what Carol did. I said to her, go inside, go in your heart and affirm positive attributes that you believe to be true about yourself. And she came out with these beautiful adjectives about I am humble, I live with love, I share it, I'm filled with love, joy, and confidence. So again, in your journal, you affirm who you know you are at your deepest level, at your essence. And then I said to Carol, okay, now tell me where it is that you want to go. And she said, I want to grow. I want to believe in myself more. I can give back to myself and I can be more present, which is beautiful because that is going to remind her about this incredible journey that she's on, and that giving to yourself, you need to give yourself permission to do that. So now we've dealt with the C, we've dealt with the H, and we've dealt with the E. And under the E, it says change is the present process, not the future goal. So change happens immediately you make the choice. I choose to think of alternatives here that I can move my life into. I'm going to stop listening to this negative mind, to this egoic mind, which is really not who I am. Yes, it's a biological process. It's got a lot to do with the programming I received as a child and the beliefs, but they can be shifted. They do not represent my truth. I am free to choose in this moment. So you can't just hope for some miraculous transformation to descend upon your life without any of your own conscious participation. The fact is, the only opportunity for change is in the present moment. And each and every instant holds a choice for you. Once you've recognized an old unhealthy pattern and considered the healthy possibilities that surround you, you must find the courage to make a clear choice about what you want to focus on. Reinforce your new options by writing these affirmative approaches in your journal and reading them often. Positively affirm who you know you are and what you want. And once you've transcribed this part of your life, you can actually take a photograph of it on your phone and keep it in a safe place. So when you catch these ants and you've thought of a healthy possibility, you can go into your phone and you can remind yourself about your positive attributes and what it is that you want in life. Now, the C in Czech is about creating a circle of joy. So what I'd like you to do, everybody, is just to close your eyes. And I'm going to ask Carol to take us back to a moment in your life where you felt really empowered. So it could have been when you were recognized, when you received an award. For some people, it's about a graduation or the day they got married or had children. Just go to some moment in your life and bring it back to life. I want you to see it with crystal clarity. And when the picture has emerged in your mind, I want you to just share with us, what are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you feeling? I think you're on mute, Carol, sorry.
I apologize for that. What I was visualizing was a moment where I felt most fulfilled, and it's because my work is so integral to who I am. Having a son 20 years ago made me more conscious of the challenges of children in South Africa. And I think that's what's resulted in my ambassadorship with UNICEF. But preceding that, the one moment that just filled me with great joy and accomplishment was when Dr. Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka was still Deputy President of South Africa, and I was asked to be a leader for the day in Parliament, where a bill was being passed for the children of South Africa, and leading that process and seeing it to fruition, and then hearing about it later without my involvement, that it had culminated in a bill that was going to be able to protect the rights of children in school, and also address bullying in schools in South Africa. I think that's by far one of the most significant contributions I feel I've been able to make. And
beautiful, beautiful. So I want you to just bring it into your mind with crystal clarity. That day when you're in Parliament, what a magnificent moment, not only for yourself, but for all the children in this country. And when it's clear in your mind, I want you to ring fence it and just create a circle of joy. And then I want you to take a deep breath. Take that circle of joy and drop it into your heart center. And just let it rest there for a few seconds. Any space for ants now? No. And that's it. You've closed off the check system. When you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. So the check system, I mean, neuroscience has proven it takes 28 days to create this new belief system, to develop this new neuronal pathway, just 28 days. So if you carry a little journal with you and create your awareness to catch those ants, automatic negative thoughts, document them, then immediately follow them with a healthy possibility. Emphasize who you know you are at your core and who you want to be, where you are going. Then close your eyes, go to a special moment in your life that was empowering. Recreate it, ring fence it, create a circle of joy and drop it into your heart just for a few seconds. And when you do this again, it doesn't matter which event your brain recalls. Allow it to recall What was a special event? And then drop it into your heart. You've closed off the check system for that moment. 28 days. If you use this system, you will grow a new neuronal pathway on the left-hand side of your prefrontal cortex. And this old one that has been running your life and putting you in a hole on the right-hand side will begin to disintegrate because you've pulled a charge out of it. So just to recap what we've chatted about: C, catch the ants. H, write down the healthy possibilities that exist for that negative thought. E, emphasize who you know you are and what you want. And then C, create a circle of joy. It's really quite simple. And the important thing is not to beat yourself up if you forgot about it, but it's to go back to it. That's the thing about mindfulness. Every moment is a new moment to start again. And we don't judge ourselves because we are human, and to be human is to err. And then I've included in your little handout the most beautiful writing by Sandra Ann Taylor. She's an American psychologist who lives in Ohio. I've done some work with her, and her work is so inspirational. And in this piece that I've included in your handout, she talks about true beliefs. And let me just read one paragraph for you so that you can drop this into your heart. You are valuable. Your soul is an eternal source of life-giving light. It shines with a meaning and purpose that you may not be aware of. In fact, your value is so profound that it's impossible in this earthly mind to really understand the extent of your amazing worth. Open to this truth and affirm the following: I am valuable. I am eternally valuable. In every experience, I choose to see, know, and honor how truly valuable I am. So that's just a beautiful part of this true beliefs, which I really encourage you. If you're feeling a little depressed or dispirited, go and read this and remind yourself about who you really are. So we're going to take another quick comfort break, a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back to the emotional manager, which is going to help you deal with strong negative emotions. And for that, I would also like another volunteer. And thank you so much, Carol, for being such a beautiful volunteer. Thank you. And we'll be back shortly.
Thank you all so much. Gail, are we ready to start?
Yes, we're ready to start. I would like to invite participants, anybody who would like to participate, to volunteer. You can switch on your camera and take your sound off mute.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of today. I'd like to encourage you, having been a volunteer for the last year, I encourage you to take up the opportunity. I found it quite cathartic.
Natalie, would you like to participate? Hi, Natalie.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once at the moment. What would you like to do?
So this is the final module on increasing resilience, which is the emotional manager. So it's dealing with strong negative emotions. So all you have to do is give me an example of when you experienced a strong negative emotion, and I will guide you through a technique to manage it.
Okay, I will, as long as you don't put the camera on.
No, that's absolutely fine. We don't need the camera on. So as long as we can hear you. So welcome, Natalie, and thank you for participating. So I'd like you to just think back to a time when you experienced, a really strong negative emotion, and you can just describe to us, what happened, how did you feel, what did you do, what did you think?
Well, actually yesterday, funny enough, I had a bit of a wobble day. I had a very bad anxiety kind of moment or a few hours that I had to deal with, which I every now and again it pops up. I do battle with anxiety, and it's something that I've been learning how to deal with naturally. I was having incredibly bad panic attacks at one point, and I went on a natural healing journey. So I do practice the box breathing. I know I need to go put my feet on the ground. I do the grounding. I know I need to step away. Sometimes I need to just go for a walk on the beach and take some time out and then walk myself through, you know, a mindfulness process.
Well done.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of self learning and healing on my journey to healing trauma and anxiety.
Well done. It sounds like you're well on your way to, you know, this journey of self-discovery and finding the solutions that you need.
Yes, well, what actually provoked it yesterday was I've just had too many deadlines at the same time, and I had a client pressurizing me on something, and then we had an issue with the bathroom plumbing, and I had all these guys in here jackhammering and the tiles.
Okay.
So the noise,
yes,
and all these strange men walking in and out the house while I was trying to work, that actually provoked like an anxiety peak for me, if I can put it that way.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that with me. And how did you respond? What did you do?
Well, I initially got emotionally flooded. And because I'm incredibly sensory sensitive at the moment. Yes. And I got quite emotional initially, and then I realized what was happening, and then I packed my stuff and I went to go walk outside and to go find a coffee shop to go work in. But I took myself through the box breathing process. I had to ground myself. I know there's a few little exercises that I take myself through to just naturally calm. I put some essential oils on my pulse points. Yeah.
Well done. Well done. That's fantastic. And thank you for sharing that, because, you know, everybody who's listening to you can benefit from your experience. So thank you, Natalie. So we're going to just go on a little bit of a journey and try and lift the lid on who Natalie is and why this experience, you know, upset your equilibrium. So what I'd like you to do quickly is, you'll see there's like a whole lot of words on this page, and I'm going to just make it a little bit smaller so that you can see the words. And I'd like you to just choose 15 of your top values from these words. So just 15 values, beliefs, or personal characteristics that are important to you now. So just choose 50.
Okay, so love, courage. Gosh, there's so many. Let's just see here. Stability. Adventure, creativity, achievement, freedom, health, happiness, your nature, your wisdom, respect, innovative, integrity. Are you going to stop me when I get to 15?
Yes.
Authentic would definitely be one.
Okay, great. Now you're on 15. Well done. Now from these choices, I want you to choose your top 5, and I want you to rank them from 1 being the most important to 5 the least of the 5. So I'll just read out what you chose. So it's love, courage, stability, adventure, creativity, achievement, freedom, health, happiness, nature, wisdom, respect, innovative, integrity, authentic.
I'm trying to write this all down. Yeah, so I think love, authentic, freedom, creativity is probably a big one for me. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think stability, peace would be another big one.
Okay, stability, peace is 5. All right. So now the interesting thing is when you look at your values, your greatest conflicts occur when these values are compromised. So in this interaction yesterday, which of these 5 were compromised?
Well, definitely the stability, peace, yeah.
Yeah, even love to a certain extent, because you're out of love, definitely. Authentic.
And authentic was definitely compromised for me because, you know, I'm trying to get things done when I say I get things done and be authentic. And it's really become such an important value to me to be my word and be authentic. And, you know, I have the habit of taking on too much sometimes and it snowballs on me and then I kind of get out of my authentic space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just about all those values were crushed, you know, in that experience yesterday, which explains why it was such a painful experience and why it was triggering you and why you just needed to get out of there. Otherwise you were going to do something and you had to immediately apply some, you know, grounding techniques just to slow yourself down. So it's very, very important to be aware of your values because your values are not negotiable, especially those top 5. And be mindful of those values as you negotiate along the path of your life, because understanding the values means you can make choices that honor the values.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's go a little deeper now. So now I want you to imagine you've been put into this machine. It's called a remaker. And in an instant, you're given all the skills, all the resources, all the money. And for 1 year, you are free of all financial dependence. I want you to choose 5 jobs that you would love to do or try.
Well, I'm busy in the process of actually doing this at the moment. So I'm actually in the phase of my career where I'm pivoting to live my dream life and career. So I have my top one would be mentoring and coaching for creative entrepreneurs.
Lovely.
To help them not to burn out and live a balanced life, because I had to learn the hard way on that one. And so interior, I do brand consulting. That's definitely creative consulting is big on my list, and I do interior consulting. So kind of creative direction.
Okay, great. Anything else that you'd like to do or try?
Sailing around the world on a catamaran.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Living on a tropical island and working from there.
Okay. Beautiful. Now choose your top 2 jobs.
I think it would definitely be the kind of the creative consulting and strategic consulting. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So that's where you are at the moment, living your dream.
Yeah, I'm making it happen.
That's beautiful. Okay. So what are the themes that you identify from these choices that speak to the purpose that you have come to live in this life? What is important for you?
I think transformation, I think that really tends to be quite important for me, is living an authentic and soulful life.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and sustainability in life and in business.
Nice.
Yeah, and well-being, the importance of well-being and a holistic approach to life and business.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I also see creativity as being a big part of who you are. And another central theme for you, Natalie, is also helping others.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a passion of mine.
Yeah, because everything that you do is geared towards that. So that's beautiful. Because remember, Maslow's old pyramid of basic human needs, at the top was self-actualization. They've changed it now to transcendence. And transcendence means helping others to self-actualize.
Yes, yeah.
So you're actually on a path of transcendence. Did you know that?
Yes.
You know that. Okay, beautiful. All right, so it's important to be mindful of these areas, because often when we ignore what we are authentically, or what is at the core of our purpose, it can lead to a lot of frustration and obviously a lot of suffering. So now let's just take a trip to your funeral. And you're watching this funeral and you're listening to what everybody is saying about you. Who was Natalie?
I think there could be a few different comments around that, but well, she's probably quite fun and free and wild, yeah. But I think an important thing for me is to have impact. That would be the end goal, is to have inspired and made, have some impact.
Okay, beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. So I love the free spirit and the, that you inspired others and that you had an impact. Well done. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I hope you will write these down so that, you can reflect on what you've said here. Yes. And so now I want you to imagine that you've traveled out about 5 years. And I want you to bring all these thoughts, themes, ideas together into one cohesive statement. So I want you to say, it is 2026. And I am. Tell me, where are you? What are you doing? Who's with you?
I am, well, I suppose, living my dream life and living free. And in alignment with my soul. And I'm surrounded by my family. And I'd ideally like to be working close to the beach, or, I have a beach lifestyle. And that's, yeah. How many words do we need?
Oh, that's enough. That's enough. That's beautiful. So yeah, it's 2026. I'm living my dream life. I am living free. I am surrounded by my family and I'm working close to the beach because that's what you enjoy. So that's a beautiful preemie life statement. We know about quantum physics, what we put out there manifests into reality. So that's beautiful. I hope you will write that down and take a photograph of it and reflect on it, because in many ways, I think you are achieving that.
Yeah, so I actually have a vision board behind me where it's all laid visually with keywords and everything.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because I think that's a wonderful thing to do as well. So for those who are listening, is to develop your own vision board and make it as exciting as you can, with pictures and different colors and and so on. And when you've crafted this, it's just to put it up somewhere visible. And I think it's also to get emotionally involved with your number 10 life, and to give yourself permission, and also to just be amazed at the synchronicities that occur. And when these things come along on your path, is to be grateful for it showing up, because they do show up very quickly when your intention is clear. So let's have a look at this formula on what we can do to manage these strong negative emotions. So we use the acronym SODA. So it's a good idea to remember it. It's easy. You can just say, when you've had an upsetting moment, I'm going for a soda. So the S stands for stop and breathe. And you were absolutely right, Natalie. Breathing is essential to life. And that one breath from death. We need to remember that. So if you stop and breathe, and I know you call it something different, but we call it stealth breathing, where it's quiet, conscious, continuous breathing. And a good way to do it is to breathe in for 6 seconds, breathe out for 6 seconds. And the reason that that works is that it takes 6 seconds for the amygdala, which is in your emotional brain, that triggers you to stand down. So in the old days, they said, count to 10. That was not so stupid. It's quite a clever thing, actually, because it only takes 6 seconds for your amygdala to stand down and to stop you from having an amygdala hijack. That's what it's called, when fear overwhelms you. So number 1, stop and breathe. Quiet, conscious, continuous breathing. Then we go to O, which is observe. Observe what is happening to you. And most importantly, if it's a strong negative emotion, is to allow it in. Allow it to be there, because you cannot negate, suppress, deny a strong emotion. In fact, it does the opposite. What we suppress persists. So it's a bit like an unwelcome guest coming to your home. You fling the door open and you say, come inside. You welcome it in. The stronger, the more negative the emotion, the more powerful the message. So you allow it in and you hold it. You just sit with that emotion for a few moments while you are doing your breathing. And then after a few moments, you can ask, what is your wisdom? What are you trying to teach me? So Natalie, what did you think your negative experience was trying to teach you?
Yeah, I think definitely just coming back again about, understanding what my triggers are. And, I have an issue with loud noises. So that was but it was just, I was already in a heightened state because I was feeling under pressure. So it's just about managing my time and tasks better, really. So I need to just kind of plan better.
Okay, that's beautiful. So it's about just making you more aware that in this moment, no matter how busy or pressured I am, in this moment, I can just drop in. I can just rest this moment.
Yeah, I tend to take myself quite seriously at times. So I have to remind myself it's not as important as I think sometimes.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So you see the awareness that's already been created in you is to just become aware of what this is teaching you, because every emotion that comes along is teaching us something. And by allowing it to be there, we heal it. Because the truth is, if you suppress it, it goes somewhere else, and it really can come back and bite us. So you allow it to be there, you observe it, And then you ask what its wisdom is, and then you can ask, what would I like to be feeling? Well, I'd like to be feeling like I have a choice. I can be peaceful, that I kind of know who I am, and I can just show myself some compassion, because this experience is tough, and I'm struggling a little here. It's okay. It's okay to say that. Okay, so after you've observed it and you've allowed it to be there and you've questioned its wisdom, the important thing is to detach yourself physically and emotionally. And that's what you did. You were able to get away from the situation. And of course, when you're able to move away from the situation, it allows you to make options. So you can phone a friend and dump on her. You can get your journal out and journalize. You can rub essential oils on, which is what you did. You can do different things to help you cope with this. So what's very important to remember is that if we're in the company of other people, professionally or personally, something called emotional contagion. So when you are in a bad space, that emotion is traveling from you, encoding, communicating, connecting. You are going to affect everybody around you. So if you are a leader in an environment, you are going to contaminate that environment. So there's a beautiful experiment that I've got in this research by a neuroscientist who took a group of students and she said to them, okay, she took half of them and she primed them negatively before they started this experiment. And she said, oh, you struggle with this, don't you? Oh, you're not too bright, are you? And of course, the students performed badly. When she had the other half of the students that she primed positively, such as, you're bright, aren't you? You find this easy. You're going to cope with this beautifully. They performed well. So it's important to remember that we all catch emotions, and especially negative emotions. You can contaminate your environment and you can create that negative neuroendocrine cascade and plunge everybody in a 50th of a second into cognitive dissonance. And when those negative hormones are in their brain and body, they're going to stay there for a long time. You may as well send them home. You're not going to get anything good out of them. But if you can allow yourself to be detached and to be aware of the impact that you have as an energetic being, and you can in that moment become aware of this dissonance, negativity inside yourself, and make a choice, which is what Carol said earlier. I have the choice. And you can say to the people with you, I've experienced your loyalty and your hard work. Yes, we have to deal with this issue, but I know that if we put our heads together, we'll come up with a solution. So what happens? The neurons are firing on the left, the good hormones come in the body, those innovative parts of the brain open up, you will reach a solution. So remember that as a person in charge of that communication at that moment, you are the tone setter. You are keeper of that human climate. So that's the detach. And when you forced yourself to make some choices, the A is awaken to yourself. So Natalie, now that you've sort of cast a little bit of light on who you are and your purpose and what you've come here to do, I want you to, in one sentence, just state for me what your noble purpose is. So I am. What is it that you've come here to achieve? I am what?
I am a creator of transformation and harmony.
Beautiful. Okay, that's an absolutely beautiful statement. It is emotionally appealing and it has a lot of meaning. I'm a creator of transformation and harmony. Wow. Wow. Okay, so now that you've stated this, I am a creator, transformation and harmony. Now this negative situation happens again. How will you react now?
Well, I've got quite good at witnessing myself now. I really just I have a good self-awareness when these things pop up, and I literally just separate myself from the emotion or from the thing that's happening, and I kind of pull myself out of it now. So I'm able to witness this from a kind of a different point of view now. So I'm much better equipped after going through the process of healing this, how to handle this when it pops up now.
So well done. Well done, Natalie. Well done. And,
Yeah.
you know, thank you for sharing your experience with us. It's really beautiful. And also for sharing your wisdom, because you're in the business of, you know, helping others, which is really very special. So thank you. Thank you for being here and helping us with this module.
Thank you.
To recap, it's really about when you feel overwhelmed with these emotions, to stop and breathe. Just engage stealth breathing, because you can make the emotional brain stand down. And then observe. Just allow these emotions to be there and show yourself some compassion and hold these emotions. You don't have to judge it, make it better, just hold them. And you'll find that after a few moments, the trigger that is inside that begins to dissipate. And then you can ask, what is your wisdom? What are you trying to tell me? And then you can say, what would I like to be feeling? And make a conscious choice to move in that direction. The D is detach. Be sensitive that you are a powerful conveyor of life. You're a conductor, powerful conductor, and that how you feel alone is conveyed to the people around you. So be aware of that power, of the emotional contagion, and make conscious choices so that you can be a positive force and motivator in your environment. And not only for those around you, your first responsibility is to yourself. And then awaken to your higher self. Define in one sentence who you are. And whenever you have another negative experience, get that noble purpose out and have another look at it. And ask yourself, now that I know who I am, how will I respond now? You find that you respond very differently this time around. So I'd like to thank everybody for being here. It has been a humbling experience for me to be able to give back and share something with you. And I'd like to start by just thanking my team for setting up this webinar, and also to thank Carol for being our gracious host, and also for participating in our check system, and to thank Natalie for giving of her wisdom and time. And I think I'm going to hand over to Carol now, and let's open it up to questions. If you have any questions, I'm happy to spend some time helping you. And then please, if you want the handouts that we've worked through, if you want the questionnaire that can answer the questions about where you are in terms of your mindfulness, then we will email those to you, including the map of consciousness that I walked you all through. So just make sure that you have let us have your email and that you've sent it to Rini so that we can forward the information on to you. Over to Carol, and bless you.
Bless you, Gail. Thank you so much. This has been an even greater gift than what I anticipated. And I'm sure that I don't just speak for myself, but I speak for all the participants today. You truly, truly are God's angel on earth. I think people are going through a lot. and to be with somebody who not only has the wisdom that you've shared, but to have you have this willingness to share it so freely and so graciously with all of us. I cannot thank you enough. I found this morning truly empowering, and I'd love to hear what all the participants, just comments or questions. Please, let's try and stay together until we have a few minutes before 1 o'clock. So I'd love to just hear your thoughts about today. I hope I'm not influencing you by saying that I have found it truly, truly empowering. Anyone? Thank you. Anyone at all? Just unmute yourself, and you can either be on video or not. It's entirely up to you.
Thank you very much. That was so incredibly inspiring and uplifting, and I think just what I needed to anchor in further. So thank you so much for everything and your time and your wisdom.
Thank you.
Natalie, we also want to thank you for really just being so open to share not only your, the challenges that you may have experienced, but also, your own wisdom. Thank you. I see Lindeka Mafilika. Lindeka, please unmute yourself so we can hear your beautiful voice.
Is it okay?
Oh my goodness, may I interrupt? This is the Lindeka, who is an award-winning artist, internationally, globally recognized, and she happens to also be a Mbogodo Award winner. What an honor. I didn't even realize you're on. What an honor.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity, because we live under fears, especially we artists, especially photographers in the townships. We don't have freedom of movement. As you know, that there are collections that are happening in our communities. So our creativity, it's like we must keep it under the box. Like you can't go out there and show what is life like, what life we have in our townships. So this is a platform for us to heal ourselves so that we can meet people like you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lindeka. Thank you. Bless you.
So much, Lindeka, for sharing that. And I think I saw another camera on. But it seems that could be somebody from the IE group. Okay, no, it's off now. Well, I really just want to say to everybody, there is nothing worse than having access and not using it in order to empower others. For me, it has been truly humbling to have this access to a genius in the coaching field, such as Gail, but also to be able to share it with everybody. I didn't even realize how much I myself needed this. I thought I was doing it in order to make it available to everyone else, but it's just been incredible to learn, to grow, and also to go within, which is something that one hasn't been able to always do. Gail, I will not have the words. I lack the articulation to truly, truly express what I am feeling. But I hope that my heart is transparent, and you know how much this has meant to me personally. I'm trying not to be emotional. And I see that we have a message as well from Tozama. I want to read it as she's written it. Thank you, Gail, Carol, and Natalie. Great session, knowing we are not alone. Tozama Mputa is just an incredible architect and artist, and really she uses her discipline in order to empower others to bring light into the community. She's also a Mbogodo Award winner, and it's just wonderful to have so many but also so many who are able to reach the world, because I know this message then will pass on. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, Gail. I thank your team. Your team has been absolutely professional and wonderful in setting this up. In fact, they've worked only with one person from my office, and that's Rushta, who I thank dearly. But truly, you've done this on your own, and I'm humbled and gratified. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Carol. Bless everybody and have a great day.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, to women working together. And we thank the IWF of South Africa for bringing us together. Yeah. Malibongwe. Cheers, everybody. Lots of love.
Cheers.
Ciao.